proudly welcomes you to America's longest-running computer show, Sound Bytes. Call the show now at 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0415 or soundbytes.org. Now, alongside Steve Ray and Dave Enright, here's Nick Francesco on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. America, all the chips in the PC. It is Saturday, the 3rd day of May, Anno Domini 2025, and you, you lucky people, you're listening to Sound Bytes. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And in 5 minutes after the hour, we are going to be bringing you news, views, things to choose, nothing to lose, kick off your shoes, don't get the blues. Have you paid your dues? Here comes the news. Oh, and before I forget, tomorrow's Star Wars Day.
May the Fourth be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
May the force be equal to mass times acceleration.
Right. This is your shirt.
Yeah.
What the heck is happening with passwords at Microsoft? Passwords are suddenly disappearing from Windows accounts. Long since expired passwords can be used to unlock Windows accounts, and attackers are using password spraying attacks to compromise Microsoft accounts. Now, to add to the credentials confusion, Microsoft has warned users of its Authenticator app that starting June 1, they will no longer be able to save new passwords. The Microsoft Authenticator app has been more than just a two-factor authentication code generator for quite some while now. It can be argued that it has gradually positioned itself as the default password manager for Microsoft users. But things are about to change as Microsoft announces a dramatic shift in security emphasis from app to browser. Because we all know that the browser password system is so secure. In June, users of the Microsoft Authenticator app will no longer be able to save any new passwords. In July, Microsoft will phase out the use of autofill in the app, and from August, your saved passwords will no longer be accessible in Authenticator. Microsoft has said the app will continue to support passkeys, however, and Microsoft has advised that if you set up passkeys for your Microsoft account, ensure that Authenticator remains enabled as your passkey provider. If you disable Authenticator, you will also disable your passkeys. Microsoft really wants you to embrace the password management functionality of the Edge browser, stating that your saved passwords, but not your generated password history, and addresses are securely synced to your Microsoft account, and you can continue to access them and enjoy seamless autofill functionality with Microsoft Edge. Your teeth will be whiter, your eyes will be brighter, and your sex life will be better.
And I got a bridge to sell you.
Yeah, right. Is it a good bridge? I'll buy it.
From here to Hawaii.
Yeah. You can export them from within the Authenticator as a .csv app. And, of course, there are a lot of other Authenticator apps that work just fine with Windows and a lot of other browsers. Just saying. So our poll of the week at soundbytes.org, that's Bytes with a Y, Francis would like us to remind you, is Microsoft Authenticator to stop saving passwords. And your choices are, I'd better export them immediately. I'll get around to it by the end of the month. Big deal, I only have one password. And Microsoft what now? So far we have 21 votes, and I hope you're sitting down. If you're driving, pull over. Microsoft what now is far in the lead. And so you can vote at the poll. It's pretty easy. All you have to do is head on over to soundbytes.org. That's Bytes with a Y. Francis would like us to remind you. And if you would like, give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0415. You know, we tell people all the time, save your passwords in a password manager, which nowadays is really a passkey manager or a passphrase manager, but they're still calling it a password manager.
Yeah.
The problem is when you save them in your browser, it is easy to go in and see them in plain text, which means that anybody who has access to your machine, either legitimately or illegitimately, can get at every single one of your passwords. How is this secure?
Surprise, surprise.
And most people have their browser synced to their account, Google account, Apple account, Microsoft account. So if someone gets your Google password, they can log in to your Google account and see all of your saved passwords.
Well, and that's what Microsoft wants. They want you to use your Microsoft. They want you to use Edge so that all your passwords are saved in your Microsoft account at Microsoft. And we know they've never had a breach.
Oh, no.
But the whole point of an external authenticator app is added security.
Exactly.
So why are they shutting it down?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the other problem with password managers. They're good until that company shuts down.
Right.
Or has a breach.
Or like anything else that Microsoft, encourages you to do, and then all of a sudden they abandon.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, they're so well, trusted in supporting stuff for so long
Yeah.
until they can't make any money on it.
Right. I'm currently mostly using the Google Authenticator. Mostly. I've thought about using the NPass Authenticator. Haven't gotten there yet, but I've thought about using that one instead.
I don't save anything. I rely on NPass
Yep.
to save all my passwords. I've
me
got
too.
everything there. I don't let my browser keep any of them. When it sits there and says, well, we want you to do that. Nope. Don't. I'll enter it into NPass, even though I might not use it for another 6 or 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
Any password or any site that I go to immediately gets thrown into NPass. And yeah, I got a bucket load of them. But, matter of fact, I ran into one that I didn't use for, it's got to be, 2-3 years? And I had to go get some updated software. There it was. I pulled it up in NPass. Boom. And, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I went.
On you went. And it's, when you use any password manager, both Dave and I use NPass, so we talk about that. But really, with any password manager, the trick to it is you have to actually use it. You have to actually use it. You have to actually enter your passwords in immediately.
Yeah, or write it down on a piece of paper. You might say, oh, I'll do it later. No, write it down because you'll forget. Mm-hmm. It just happens. Oh, was it this one or was it that one? No, if you write it down, and then after you're done with that site, go over, start up NPass, create a new card to put in all the information, the website link, and all that other stuff, you're good to go.
Sometimes when you update your password, the password manager doesn't realize it and still saves the old password.
Yep.
So sometimes you have to go in and manually put in your new password.
Yep.
One of the things we've started doing at our store, we got some address books, A through Z. It's funny. You buy an address book and it's $5, A through Z. Put your Apple password, your Google password, Microsoft password, everything. You buy one that says passwords on the front of it, it's $20.
Yep. Same exact book.
Yep, same A through Z.
Yep. I use NPass. It's on my phone all the time, and it's on my computers all the time. And what that means is that I have access to all those same passwords everywhere all the time. It also means I make 64-character passwords. I max out NPass.
Mm-hmm.
You have NPass make them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have NPass make the passwords. And I vary between words with symbols between them and numbers or just random characters. But what makes me crazy than I normally am is when you go to a site, it asks you for a password, you put it in, and then it tells you maximum 12 characters.
Yeah.
Well, you may bite me, sir or madam.
They had one on GRC a couple of weeks ago. It was some state DMV he was trying to log into. And then he types his password in, he gets an error. And the first error is your password must be at least 6 characters. Okay, 6, that's I suppose. But then the second error is your password cannot be more than 6 characters. Your password has to be exactly 6 characters. That's horrible.
That's horrible. Worse for me is when you put it in password and it says must be between 8 and 12 characters. Okay, so I put it in a 12-character password, and then it says you must use one symbol.
Mm-hmm.
So you put in a symbol, and then it says you must use a number.
Say it ahead of time, please.
Right. Give me everything at the beginning. Give me my parameters, and I can make a password that meets those parameters.
I only save two. I only have to memorize 2 passwords. One is to get into my NPass, and the other one is for work. Because work is we change up our passwords every 4 months.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm constantly changing. So that's one of the other ones that I have to memorize. But I'm using it every darn day. Just to, when I get to my station, I have to log in and that, and you're using that password constantly. So that one, and then my NPass. That's it. The rest of them are all saved in NPass.
Right, and you don't have to remember them.
Yeah,
and I get that.
Well, it could do.
I'm the same way.
And those long passwords you can't remember.
Well,
Yes.
and you don't want to remember.
Yeah. What's the sort of off-color joke is even with a gun to your head, you can't remember the password.
Yeah,
Well, that's
no,
exactly right.
Yeah.
And,
fudging way.
And that's why I make the longest passwords I possibly can, so that they're hard to crack, and I don't have to remember them. So what do I care?
Well, that's why I complained to my one bank. I says, because they were limiting me. So I called them up and I says, that's ridiculous. You're a bank. It should be longer.
It's a COBOL program with a
2
7-bit
weeks
field.
2 weeks later, didn't they open it up to even more?
Good for you. Good for you.
And
Every bank should do that.
Yeah, and it's like, because now mine's like, 54 characters long. And like you say, there's no way in hockey sticks I'm going to memorize it.
Right.
But I guarantee it's not going to be hacked.
Back in the day, as Steve alluded to, when it was COBOL, you had a limited number of characters in a prompt. But you could get around that. It was lazy programmers who did not.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of them. All right, to the phones. Our first caller is Jim from Irondequoit, New York. What's up, Jim?
Good morning. I have a HP laptop that tells me I have 1 terabyte SSD, and I have no idea how to access it.
That's your hard drive.
Your C drive.
Yeah, it's your C drive.
Instead of a spinning hard drive, it's a solid state drive, which is faster.
SSD is solid state drive.
But when I go to when I hit the drive icon, the only thing I can see is, like I said, it's 237 gigabytes used. I mean, that's all it size for my C drive. That's all.
That's size used, not capacity.
Right.
If you right-click on the C drive.
Okay, I misspoke. Here's what it says. It says 163 GPUs of 237.
Okay, do you have a D drive?
Pardon me?
Do you have a D drive?
Not that I'm aware of. I guess that's the problem. I can't find it.
So where do you see that you have a 1 terabyte drive?
Well, that's on the description of when I bought it.
That doesn't mean squat. If you go, usually up in the upper left-hand corner is My Computer, and you click on that, and you'll see your C drive. Now, if you right-click on that, you can select Properties. And in Properties, it will tell you how big your hard drive is, how much is being used, and how much is available.
You can also go into the disk manager, and I'm posting a link for that now, that will show you all of the disks in your computer. So what typically happens with PCs is if you had like a 1 terabyte drive, the C drive is like 900 gigs, and the D drive for your recovery
I'm back up.
is the other 100 gigs because they don't include disks anymore. So it's a recovery.
It's an image
on the second drive. So when your drive dies, you can't get to the second drive anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Windows Disk Manager will tell you all the disks in your computer.
Okay. Maybe I didn't look hard enough.
Yeah. It's also possible that description says up to a 1 terabyte SSD.
Mm-hmm.
And your specific model did not get a 1 terabyte?
Well, I did a search on that, and I found a specific model, and it says, yes, I do have one.
Did you buy it new or used?
New.
New? Okay. I'm just thinking maybe somebody replaced it before they sold it as a used machine.
Yeah, it's only a couple years old.
Yeah, check in the discs. Steve posted a link. Check on the disk thing, and it'll tell you how many drives you have and what size they are.
Okay.
And that bypasses Windows. That looks at the actual hardware.
Okay.
Right, and again, it may be that what you have in the machine does not necessarily match the description, and that's something you got to talk to the seller about.
Okay. Okie doke.
All right, good luck, Jim.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yep.
Sometimes we've seen, and I'll post a link for this, is a program called Tree Size that will go through all of your folders and calculate how big each folder is. So you can do properties on each folder, but I want to know how big each folder is, what the biggest folders are, so say you have a terabyte drive and there's 200 gigs free. Well, where's the other 800 gigs?
Right.
So something like Tree Size will let you find where your folder sizes are.
Right. And he could be looking at several situations there where it may be that it is not a 1 terabyte drive. That is the most likely. I don't remember the numbers he said, but in my head they added up to something like half a terabyte.
Yeah, that's what I just did here. Is I wound up clicking on the start bar, and I wound up going to the File Explorer, and on this particular one, and I wound up going to right-clicking. It says C drive, and I went into the properties, and in the properties there it tells you how big the hard drive is, how much is used, and how much is available.
Right.
Well, the trick there is that shows you the volume size.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the drive size.
Well,
so
and
Disk
that's-
Manager
and
will show you the drive size.
That's the point I was heading toward,
Yep.
which is that in my head, what I heard was something around 500 gig, which is about half a terabyte.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if when they created that machine, they just imaged it from a half terabyte
Right.
image,
Yeah.
and then there's a half terabyte
That's
just
unformatted.
laying there, and it may be that you can extend the partition to fill that up and get your full terabyte.
I've also seen a couple of PCs that would come with a half terabyte C and a half terabyte D. Why?
Yeah,
Right,
it's the
exactly.
same
People-
drive.
People
Yeah.
are confused by multiple drive letters. They think, and then they'll think it's a separate drive and put their
Yeah.
backup files
And
on
that's
it.
where they
Right.
get burned because, I backed it up to D. There's only one hard drive in it.
Yep.
And it was that's what used to be back in the day. Remember when we used to have you only have partitions so big,
Yep.
and we do C, D, E, F, G, H, and then if the drive went, the whole drive went.
That's why I never understood the point of partitions.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I did understand it back in the day when you had
You had to.
you could only have so big a partition.
And there was also the minimum file allocation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I understood it then, but once that was gone, there was no reason to have partitions on a single drive because of what you just said. If you lose the drive, you lose all the partitions. It's not a backup. It's not a change. And if you're using it to manage things, to sort things out and keep things separate, folders do that too.
Usually better.
Usually better. So
Yeah.
I just never understood. Once the need to have a maximum drive size smaller than your drive, maximum volume size smaller than your drive, I never understood the need or the reason for partitions. I didn't like them at all. But in general, any laptop you have, any desktop, any computer you have, you can go in and see. It may well be okay. What I think happened with Jim's machine is they put a terabyte drive in, but the imager they used on all their HP laptops were 500 gig.
Because they don't install on every single computer one at a time.
Right. What they do is they image
Bulk.
them a million at a time, and if they used a 500 gig image, depending on what imager they used, it put 500 gigs on that terabyte drive and moved on.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't. There may be another half a terabyte sitting fallow, if you will, on Jim's drive.
Yeah.
And again, you can extend the main partition to fill up that space. And again, that was why in the day you would use partitions, make a D drive, because that first partition was as big as it could get. But nowadays, that partition can be extended and be made bigger, so that would be better than creating a D drive.
Well, sometimes you have to delete the one partition to make the first partition bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in that step, you may want to bring it to someone a little more knowledgeable, because if you delete the wrong partition, you're screwed.
Yeah, I was about to say,
You're SOL.
You can do all of that, but
Yep.
you should not necessarily do it yourself.
Yeah, there used to be a program, I don't know if it's still around, Partition Magic.
Yeah,
Yep.
they got bought by Norton, and I think they're gone now. But Clonezilla still exists. I've used that a few times.
Right.
One thing I did find in Clonezilla, so the intent is you need a bigger hard drive in your computer, so you clone the small one to the big one.
Right.
Great. Well, I had a drive that didn't have that much space on it, so I was going to clone it to a smaller drive. It won't.
Wow.
You can't clone to a smaller drive.
Interesting.
There's probably some flag in there somewhere I could set.
Yeah,
but-
worried that it's not going to get
Right, 'cause they
halfway into it, and then all of a sudden realize, oh, I'm going to run out of
Yeah.
space.
They don't want to put a 4 terabyte drive onto a 2, but I'm only using 1 terabyte on the disk. Clone that to the new 2 for me, please.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was, when I bought my new desktop, which I did before the tariffs, back when we thought the tariffs were going to be January 1st, 2nd, whatever that day was, I bought a new desktop, and it came with a I had a choice between a 1 and a 2 terabyte drive. Well, I chose the 1 terabyte drive because I then bought a 4 terabyte drive for my second drive. So my root folder is 1 terabyte, of which I'm using like 8%. And my home directory is 4 terabytes, of which I'm using 11%. So I've got plenty of space to fill up with whatever I want to fill it up with. I
Which it will.
probably won't, actually. I can't. Of course, I say that all the time.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what I'm going to fill it up with.
Yeah.
I say that a lot. And then I add music and pictures and books.
And
Yeah. And I get that. But when you buy a computer, whether it's a desktop, a laptop, I don't care. When you buy a computer, pay attention to a lot of the things that you kind of take for granted. How much data do you currently have?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you buy the new machine, get more. Get more storage, get more RAM, get a faster processor. The idea is to move up and get better capacity, better speed, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't.
We'll have customers come in, they're using 200 gigs in 10 years.
Right.
So you could use a 250 on your new computer. Let's go for the 500 just to be safe.
Just to be safe, it could be that this is the year.
Yeah.
Right. So, be aware that and hard drives are cheap. Well, maybe not at Apple, but
Well, hard drives are cheap. SSDs are not quite as cheap.
Right. But SSDs in general, SSDs are cheap, and you can add. 4 terabytes didn't cost me much of anything comparatively, it's
I paid
based on-
$1,100 for my first 100 meg hard drive.
the 5 meg cider was $2,500
Yep.
bucks.
Yeah, I didn't get into it that soon.
I did.
Yeah.
$2,500 for 5 megabytes, and I don't have Enright disease. I mean megabytes.
Yep. And you could put every single program there was on that drive.
And have room for your data.
Yep.
Every single business program there
Yep.
was. And still have room for your data. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco. If you're on the phone, hang on. We'll get to you in a minute. If you're not on the phone, give us a call. 585-966-JAZZ. It's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0415. Back in just a couple of minutes with Sound Bites right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Computer talk you can understand. More Sound Bites is next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Rob Bartier. The severe storm front that's been dumping heavy rain on the central United States is moving toward the East Coast today. Forecasters say flooding, downpours, and damaging wind gusts are possible from Massachusetts to the Florida Panhandle, with major cities bracing for severe weather from Boston to Charleston, South Carolina. The governor of Wisconsin says the Trump administration is sending, quote, chilling threats to his office in Milwaukee. The office of Governor Tony Evers had recently issued advice on what to do if state employees were faced with immigration agents. On Thursday, Border Czar Tom Homan responded and said it would be a felony if Evers were to interfere with immigration officers. It's Derby Day in Kentucky. The first leg of the Triple Crown is today when the horses line up at Churchill Downs for the 151st Kentucky Derby. The favorite to win this year is a 3-year-old horse named Journalism. Rob Bartier, NBC News Radio.
Ugh, you think just like Mom. This is Sandra Tsinglow with the Lowdown on Science. In women, one of your X chromosomes, from mom or dad, is more active across individual cells, and this could influence how your brain ages. How, you ask? Enter Samira Abdullahi Saiku and team at UC San Francisco. They studied memory in older female mice whose mom's X chromosome was more active. And worse spatial memory. Researchers found that the mom's X chromosome was turning off genes important for memory. When the mom's X chromosome was deactivated, spatial memory returned to normal. This discovery could lead to new ways to help people age better. Seems like the X chromosome is adding extra wear and tear on the brain.
The Lowdown on Science is a production of LAist 89.3.
Jazz 90.1 and Greece Baptist Church are again pleased to present free community jazz and big band concerts.
The next concert features the Kodak Concert Band, Monday, May 19th at 7 p.m. For more information, visit jazz901.org.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by the City of Rochester. The city is currently hiring 311 and 911 operators. For more information and to apply, you may visit 911rochester.com. That's 911rochester.com.
I'm Herbie Hancock. Did you know that April 30th is International Jazz Day? Each year, people in more than 190 countries around the world celebrate jazz for promoting peace, dialogue among cultures, diversity, and respect for human rights and human dignity. International Jazz Day is so important to me because it reminds us that our similarities are stronger than our differences. Visit jazzday.com to join the celebration in your community.
What's the biggest myth about interscholastic performing arts? That you have to be the most talented or experienced to participate. The truth is, anyone can be a part of their school's performing arts. There are countless opportunities for students to participate, from theater, choir, and band to speech and debate. The bottom line, if you want to perform, there's a place for you.
This message presented by the NFHS.
And now, a check of your Jazz 90.1 weather forecast.
The rain gear is a must from Hilltop to Lakeshore on your Saturday. We'll look for showers and temperatures to be close to 50 degrees for a high. Coming up for your Saturday night, still on the cloudy side with some more scattered showers. Overnight low temperatures will be into the mid-40s with the breeze out of the northeast. For your Sunday, more showers, especially into the afternoon. There will be some dry time, especially into the morning, the high in the mid-50s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got cloudy skies, 47 degrees out at the airport and 46 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 34 minutes after the hour, we are Sound Bites, and we have Mark from Greece, New York on the line. What's up, Mark?
Hello, hello. How are you?
Peachy, how are you?
I am peachy wonderful.
Good. That's what I like to hear.
I heard you talking about Partition software.
Right.
And I found one that is spectacular. I had the hardest time about a year ago looking for something that would do what I needed it to do, because a lot of these free partition managers don't allow you to combine partitions.
Right.
Or when you create a clone, if you have a hard drive bigger than what it says it is, like if you bought a terabyte hard drive and it's a 500 gigabyte drive, it will only give you 500 gigabytes.
Right.
Then won't let you expand it. It won't let you combine them at all.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking is Jim's problem, the first call
Yeah.
we had.
Well, I found one that lets you do 99% of the program. It will let you do everything for free. The only thing it won't let you do is create bootable media for free. You can buy a subscription for that, and it's cheap.
Or you use Rufus for that.
It's
all right. So what's the program
version?
Yeah. So Mark, what's the program?
I can't say the name. It's Niubi, Partition Editor.
Niubi?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, but I wasn't positive.
Well, we'll call it Niubi. Why not?
Yeah, why not? And you can get a professional edition that's a lifetime upgrade for $48.30.
That's not bad at all.
And you can use 99% of it for free.
Yeah, that's really
so
nice.
It's up to you, but yeah, it's not expensive.
Well, and as always, we recommend that people pay for those little extra features.
Exactly.
Or donate or whatever it is that those people want, because that's what keeps them writing the software.
Exactly. That's what I did with mine. I used it free for a short time, and then I bought it.
Good for you.
Because I'm always helping people do stuff, so I need the software. And one nice thing it does do is it clearly states your unallocated spaces.
Nice.
Very clearly. So it's if you just pay attention, you won't mess it up. Like you always said, check, double check, and then triple check.
Right, and then set it aside and go hire a professional.
Yeah.
Well, seriously, how many?
Exactly.
It's easy. It's easy and inexpensive to hire a professional to do it right the first time, as opposed to I screwed everything up. Now what do I do? Well, now you go to Drive Savers, and it's $1,000 just to look at the drive.
Exactly. Well, I always suggest to people, if they want to use something like this for the first time, is put it on a computer you don't care about.
Yeah, for real, don't care about.
An experiment.
Yep.
We all have a couple extra hard drives sitting around from older computers.
Yep.
That we can experiment on and learn how to use things, and that way, if we mess it up, we weren't using it anyways.
Exactly.
And that's what I always suggest to people: learn on something you're not using or you don't care about.
Right. Good for you, Mark.
That way, you can be your own IT guy.
Exactly.
Don't get something too complicated and then take it to you guys,
Right. When, but the more you can do, we're always willing to help people help themselves. And, teach them to do it themselves.
A little bit of knowledge also helps you if you do go someplace and they're a little unscrupulous.
Right.
So, but that's it. That's the name of the program. It's pretty nice.
All right. Thank you, Mark. We appreciate that.
You guys have a great week.
You too. Bye-bye.
I'm getting some interesting definitions, Niubi. It's apparently a Chinese word, so it depends on your inflection.
Right.
It can either mean amazing, useful, colloquially effing awesome, or it can mean cow, idiot, stupid.
There you go.
So it's great that one word can mean opposite things depending on inflection.
Yep. I'm sure they mean it in the prior.
Yes. Yep. And it says on their webpage it's free to Ukrainians, which is nice.
Oh, really? Very nice. Very, very nice. But if you are going to play around in the partition, be aware that you can completely brick your entire machine. So maybe, take it to a professional. And while you do that, we'll go back to the phones and we will talk to Mike from Gates, New York. What's up, Mike?
I want to run something by you guys. We both bought Lenovo laptops from a reputable dealer here in Rochester, and then my wife started developing problems with the embedded mouse, and we took it back and we bounced back and forth a couple times.
Are you on a speakerphone?
Yes.
Please remove it.
Take it off.
Yeah, you're breaking in and out. We're having a little trouble.
You're cutting in and out like
understanding
crazy.
you.
Yes.
Okay. I can do that.
Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead. So you got problems with an embedded mouse?
Yeah, and they sent it off to Lenovo, and the shop was kind enough to give us a loaner because they didn't know how long it would take. We sent it back. The shop was convinced it was a Windows problem, so they reinstalled Windows.
Yeah.
And they were about ready to let us take it, and then the mouse quit on them. And that was the first time they were actually able to duplicate the problem.
Yeah, that's always the problem when it won't happen in the shop.
Right.
Yeah, it makes that kind of difficult. And as a former service tech, I can relate.
Yeah.
But now at that point, we were asking for, why don't we just replace the laptop? Because the first time they sent it in, they changed the motherboard and the ThinkPad mouse. So they were troubleshooting, and something didn't go away. Well, the problem returned, and it's now back at Lenovo, and we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting.
Yeah.
Would you guys be yelling to just replace the laptop at this point?
I would. Absolutely, I would.
Mm-hmm.
How old is it?
It's like 6 months.
Yeah.
So if it's
Lemon
particularly
law.
if it's still under warranty, it's lemon law. You got a lemon, get it replaced.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but yeah. And so you're talking about the little pencil eraser mouse in between the G and the H?
No, the other one, with the two mouse buttons on it and
the trackpad.
The trackpad.
The trackpad. Okay. All right.
A lot of PCs have a button that turns the trackpad off if you plug in an external mouse. Make sure that button's not switched.
You have to go into Windows settings for that, don't you?
Sometimes
Not
it's
necessarily.
sometimes
No.
it's a physical button on the computer.
FN keys.
Ah.
Yeah, if you hold
Did
down the
not know
FN
that.
key and then one of the keys up above, like F1 through 12, along with the FN, that does other functions than just the straight F1 through 12.
So on my Asus, it's function F9 because I can see a picture on the F9 key. I can see a picture of a mouse with a line through it. I'm not going to press it because I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I see one for the phone. Well, two for the phone. Anyways.
Anyway, check it out and see. It could also be a physical button. Years ago, we had the worst time with a whole batch of laptops that had a physical button, a physical switch that turned off the Wi-Fi. And it was just a tiny little switch on the side.
Because that can drain your laptop battery.
Because that would drain your laptop battery. So you could turn it off in between use.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that if you were to carry it, that's often, or pick it up, that's often where people grabbed it. And so I would get all these calls. The Wi-Fi's not working. Flip the switch. Oh yeah.
Yep.
So check around. I have a Lenovo Think Center desktop, but I don't have any Lenovo laptops, so I'm not sure of the configuration of them. But check around, and if you've got the manual or you downloaded it from online, read through that as well.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, speaking as an Apple dealer, it depends on Lenovo's policies. Apple has kind of an unwritten policy. It's got to be written somewhere. 3 repairs. If 3 repairs don't fix it, then they replace it.
Right.
Which is annoying for the customer.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just thought I would get some 2 cents from you guys.
Yeah, usually buying a name brand helps because you have that name brand support behind it. But everything will break eventually.
Also, it is possible if you're the type of typist who presses hard with the heels of their hands on the computer while you're typing, you may have flexed around the trackpad, the trackpad, to the point where it's now out of true and doesn't work well.
And there's generally a wire connecting the trackpad, a cable connecting the trackpad to the logic board, and if that gets skewed,
frayed or skewed, or
yeah. Cool. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Good luck.
Yep.
All right, one moment, please.
All right.
Before you call into our show, please make note of the following rules. 1, turn your radio down. 2, turn your radio down lower. 3, remember, nobody has invented a good-sounding speakerphone yet. Don't use them. 4, make sure you have a point. It makes for a more interesting show. 5, calling does not guarantee you'll get on the air. No whining. 6, if you do get on the air, please do not tell the host what you just told the screener. We don't care. And 7, is that radio turned down yet? We hope this will make for a more enjoyable program, and we thank you for your time.
Yeah, play that from time to time, and it's not anything against, our listeners and that, because I know speakerphones are great to have, that if you're trying to type on the keyboard to give us the information and all that, but they do not sound good here in our studio because they crackle or they'll pop, and
you drop out a word
and out now and then So, we're just trying to make it so all our other listeners that are trying to maybe help you or listen and learn from it can get all the information too.
Also, I'm old and I have hearing aids. Have pity on me.
Both of us.
Enunciate.
That's also why you get told to wear a headset when you're in all these video chats.
Right.
Because the microphone picks up the speaker and generates feedback back into the chat.
Right. I know that look, 2 things television has ruined for everyone. A is nobody wears headphones anymore because they don't look good, apparently.
Or the ones that are so thin and tiny it cost $5,000.
Oh, right, which I don't have those. And B, you see people walking around holding their phone like this and talking to it. Well, that's an artifact of television because they want you to hear both sides of the conversation over the air. I don't want to hear both sides of I don't want to hear one side of your conversation. Put the phone up to your ear and don't scream.
Yeah. Or like I say, if you're,
and get off my lawn.
And put a headset on because, then that way you can listen and talk and still work on your computer if you're trying to go along with us and, follow our instructions on try this or try that. I understand it. It's sometimes we don't have the third hand.
Exactly right.
Well, we could use it.
Yeah. I wanted to mention, if you're talking about disk partitions, there's a program in Linux called, and I know this will be odd, disks, that you can tell what your partitions all are, and you can extend them, and you can do all the stuff with them that you would want to do. But again, that's pretty much guru level stuff. When can you extend a partition? How do you extend a partition? Do you have to turn off the partition first? If it's your main partition, what happens when you turn it off? I mean, you got to know all of this stuff, and you got to understand exactly what it is you're trying to do, and you better have a game plan for when, not if, it goes wrong.
It's just like it rates right up there with the registry. One thing we have never done in the 33 years here at this show is told folks how to go into the registry and do stuff. We'll not be responsible for doing that.
Right.
And the same with playing around with partitions. That is lethal. You do, like Steve was saying, you delete the wrong partition, you're hosed. And once it's gone because by deleting it, it starts to automatically reformat it. So anything that was on it is now gone, and you're sending it off to Drive Savers to maybe for a minimum of $1,000, try to get some of your information off of it if you didn't do your backups.
It's $1,000 at Drive Savers to have them tell you what it will cost to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't
So
cheap. Also, by the way,
if you use our dealer referral code, you get free diagnosis.
That's true. That's right. I have to tell you, we've been on the air 35 years, 8 months exactly today.
35?
Yeah, 35 years.
How did it get so far behind?
You're old.
Been asleep.
Yeah, I
with
guess
them.
so. You guys didn't wake me up in time.
Yep. Well,
So
we
we've
tried, Uncle Dave.
We
caught up to the polka show, but we didn't mean for him to die.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, really.
Exactly.
So we've been on 35 years?
35 years, 8 months exactly today.
You know, I happened to be, when I was driving over here to come to the show and that, we just finished up on a hard drive, a pledge drive.
Yep.
We're always asking folks to, give because, we come here every week. How many folks out there would commit to giving up 35 years of their Saturdays?
And Sundays, at one point.
Yeah. Weekends to come and do a show for no pay.
And God knows we've been committed.
Oh, we were committed. I was committed a long time ago.
As Jonathan Winters used to say, I'm the only person in this room with a certificate to prove my sanity.
But, I got to think about, talk about dedication, folks. If you don't think that we're dedicated to this program, and we enjoy doing it, that we have given up now 35 years of Saturdays and Sunday, well, for a little while, Sundays, to come right in the middle of a Saturday. And this is not a pledge drive, but
right.
I just happen to be thinking about it.
Although you can pledge at jazz901.org. Just hit that big red donate button.
It always helps to, build it towards the next pledge drive.
Yep.
It just doesn't, all of a sudden throw a big party or do this or that. It all goes to maintain the station. But, 35 years of Saturdays.
Well, and it's the real dedication is the fans, the listeners. Mm-hmm. You folks have been with us for I don't know why, but you have been with us for 35 years, and we could not be more grateful. It is you folks who keep us on the air, not just by sending us money, which we need, but also by just being there, and making the days go by when we get to talk to you. We love it. We see you out in the real world.
That's where I was getting to, though, is yesterday, I at work, and I sitting there talking to a customer, and all of a sudden this other customer that's in line goes, I know that voice. I don't know the face, but I know that voice. He comes over to me. Are you Dave Enright? I go, last I knew I was.
Yep. I got that Wednesday at PT. Suddenly the lady over at the next table, they're manipulating our bodies and making us do things we don't want to do. The lady at the next table says, are you Nick Francesco? I said, yeah. She said, I love your show. So then I had to tell everybody about the show and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I watch you on TV all the time.
Yeah. We get that a lot.
How long has the TV show been on? Well, okay. You can watch YouTube on your TV, so we are on TV.
We are on the TV. That is absolutely true. And that's all on Steve. Steve has us. We broadcast on I think 200 or 300 media at once. I believe we're at now. We're on YouTube and we're on
Facebook and Twitch. Live, and then after the fact on Spotify and Google Play and a lot of the other streaming services.
Yeah, and that's all Steve. He sits there at the computer and makes it do things. He's got a fairly high-end Mac, and it can do all of that, and we're very grateful that he does that every week. And then he packages it up after the show and puts it online, makes it available on YouTube and all those other places, and so you get to enjoy it. And of course, you can always download the archives. We have a couple of 100 years, I believe, of archives up at soundbytes.org/archives.
Going back to the very first episode.
Yeah.
Thanks to a listener.
A listener.
Yeah.
He gave us all the tapes.
Don, it'll come to me. It'll come to me during the break.
Brain fart.
Yeah. No, yeah.
It's on the archive page, isn't it?
What?
Yes, it's on the archive page. Don Nichols.
Don Nichols.
Yeah.
And his wife who generously donated all those tapes.
Yeah.
So we're very honored about that. But yeah, we've got a bunch of the old shows with the ever great Bob Smith, the amazing Bob Smith. And then when we took over, we tried to maintain that level.
Yeah. We have 495 videos on YouTube.
Wow. Yeah, and the archive page tells us how many.
So that's 9.5 years ish. We were doing Ustream before that, and before there was a YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have 1,222 shows online right now.
Wow.
And that's
That's not all of them.
Let me take a moment to thank all the people. Speaking of donations, on the Soundbites page itself, there is a donate button, and it's you folks who've generously supported. It's not free to put all that stuff up. I don't know if you knew that, but to store all those old shows costs money, and so and downloading them and streaming them and everything also costs money. Nothing's free these days. So those of you who have been generous enough to donate on the Soundbites webpage, that goes directly into my pocket. I mean, that goes. It does actually sit in an account that I've set aside that pays for the hosting for Soundbites. So thank you all very much for that. It's there have been years when it actually paid the whole thing, and I was.
It's been greatly appreciated. It's not like, you're taking a trip to Vegas or a cruise or anything else.
I wish.
Yeah, really.
If somebody would donate $50,000 through that account, I would take a trip to Vegas. We'd all take a trip to Vegas.
Well, we got to go to NAB one of these years. Rob went without us this year.
I know. We need to do that. Well, they don't have like PC Expo and all of that anymore.
Yeah.
There's a couple in Europe, but not here. And so the best we can do is NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters, and that ain't cheap. You gotta pay for the tickets and the hotel room and your entry fee and all of that stuff. So we haven't gone there, but
remember when I used to go down to Georgia for the big computer shows down there?
Yep.
That used to be so much fun. I mean, it was literally a whole week.
When I worked at when I worked at Logical Operations, I gave several talks at various PC Expo type. One was at PC Expo in New York, the Javits Center, and there were a couple of others over the years. Those were really nice. The best part, honestly, was the day before and the day after the conference, because the day before you go around and talk to all the people setting up, and the day after they give you stuff that they didn't want to cart home.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that music tells us we are done for the first hour of this show, but do not despair and do not go away, because there's a whole nother hour of the longest running computer show in the known universe coming your way. A whole nother hour of Dave Enright, a whole nother hour of Steve Ray, a whole nother hour of me, Nick Francesco, and a whole nother hour of you. If you're on the phone, stay on the phone. If you're not on the phone, give us a call. 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0410. I've lost track of the time, but I'm just going to tell you that you are listening to Sound Bites right here on the Truly Great, and we don't say it enough, truly grateful to you, each and every one of you, that we continue with your generous support to be member supported. We will be back in just a couple of minutes. Take a bio break, get yourself a beverage, and we'll see you on the other side.
Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at soundbites.org. More with Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
This is 90.1 WGMC Greece Rochester, a public service of the Greece Central School District and official media partner of this year's Rochester International Jazz Festival. Jazz 90.1.
Streaming online at jazz901.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. President Trump's new budget proposal is calling for over $160 billion in federal spending cuts. The White House budget blueprint released Friday calls for a 13% increase in defense spending for the next fiscal year, bringing the total to just over $1 trillion. It would slash funding for the State Department, the EPA, Housing and Urban Development, and most other federal departments, while increasing funding for Homeland Security, Defense, the Department of Transportation, and the VA. A strong storm that's been dumping heavy rain on the central U.S. is moving toward the East Coast today. More from Rob Martier.
Forecasters say flooding, downpours, and damaging wind gusts are possible from Massachusetts to the Florida Panhandle, with major cities bracing for severe weather from Boston to Charleston, South Carolina.
Thunderstorms may linger Sunday in the Carolinas and the Mid-Atlantic. Lisa Carton, NBC News Radio.
The guitar of Charlie Bird summons his visit to the essence of jazz. Charlie prefers impressions of his idols rather than transcribing them note for note.
I sat down with a Django record and I got 16 bars and I gave up. I must have been about 12 years old. I said, this is too damn hard. I had some more fun doing it the other way.
This is Will Moyle. Enjoy the music and thoughts of Charlie Bird as he joins us within the essence of jazz.
The Essence of Jazz with Will Moyle, Saturday nights at 6, only on members-supported Jazz 90.1. Jazz 90.1 and United States of America's Mrs. New Jersey, Diana Mayer, are teaming up again to provide free radios to local residents diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. The program, Rochester's Gift of Music, will donate these radios to patients, providing immediate therapeutic relief and enhanced quality of life through music. Donations of gently used and operational AM/FM radios can be dropped off to the Jazz 90.1 studios weekdays between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., or new radios could be purchased and sent off Jazz 90.1's Amazon wish list. Please make a difference and donate the gift of music today. More information can be found at jazz901.org. Are you thinking of adding a pet to your family? Greece Residents Assisting Stray Pets, or GRASP, is committed to reducing the number of homeless pets by placing dogs and cats into compatible, loving, permanent homes. For more information on how you can give a homeless pet a second chance through adoption, visit graspinc.org. GRASP, striving for the day when every dog and cat will live in a loving, safe, and healthy home.
I'm Naheem Hines, proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom has muscular dystrophy, and the MDA helps her and kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan, and I'm 12 years old. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. And MDA funds over 150 care centers for kids like me.
For over 70 years, MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Learn more at mda.org today.
Are you thinking of adding a pet to your family? Greece Residents Assisting Stray Pets, or GRASP, is committed to reducing the number of homeless pets by placing dogs and cats into compatible, loving, permanent homes. For more information on how you can give a homeless pet a second chance through adoption, visit graspinc.org. GRASP, striving for the day when every dog and cat will live in a loving, safe, and healthy home.
Welcome back to America's longest-running computer show, Soundbites, on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Get online now. Call 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll-free 800-790-0415. Or submit your question by email at soundbites.org. Once again, here's Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 4 minutes after the hour, we are hurtling headlong into the second hour of the longest-running computer show in the known universe, Soundbites, right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1. And we have Andy from Greece, New York on the line. What's up, Andy?
Hi, guys. Still trying to get this HP laptop of my wife's to do some various things. The hard drive doesn't want to boot the computer. I did manage to get it up in safe mode yesterday. Finally had time to sit down and go through that process. And I told it to give me safe mode with network support. I won't see anything on my network or even try to look at it. So I put a USB drive or a thumb drive into the USB port. It sees that and reads it, and that's fine. I can read every file on the computer. I go to copy the files off, and it gives me an error. And when I say retry it, it goes to about 38%, and then gives me the error back. Now, it will create a folder. If I'm saying, grab this folder and copy it over, it will create the folder on the thumb drive, but it won't move the files.
What's the error message you get?
0x800-70780.
And that's all it says. There's no text.
Well, it says unable to access the device, try this again, or give this code to the technician if you call, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it gives me to try again.
What that error code says is the file can't actually be accessed. Can't be accessed.
I'd be worried about the disk.
That's what I'm thinking.
Do a check disk on it?
I haven't tried that yet. When it boots, it freezes. It's an M2 drive, 1 terabyte. I bought a new one. Cost me a whole $70, I think. I've just got to take the unit apart and drop it in. I'm trying to get to my wife's files before I do this. She's got a brand new MacBook Air that just came in the mail, and when she gets around to it, she's going to sit down and do the tutorial and go through it and all that kind of stuff. She says that she's going to do it all, and she's not going to let me touch it. And
good for her.
I'll believe that when I see it. If it doesn't go through a wall someplace.
Yeah. She could try the Apple's Windows Migration Assistant to copy everything, but if nothing, if the computer won't do a normal boot and it won't copy files in safe mode, it's more than likely something is wrong with the drive, and you'd have to try to pull it out, put it into an external enclosure to do recovery on it.
Okay, I'm building myself a new computer. We're exiting Windows in this house completely. And once I get it built, my new motherboard has 2 M2 slots in it.
Yeah, that's the other option if you have 2 ports on the internal to the computer.
You can also pick up a carrier for very little money that just plugs into USB.
There's that too. But she's not in any huge hurry. Her attitude is, they're old files, I don't need them. Erase them, throw them out, I don't care.
And then in 6 months, she'll say, you remember that file? I need it back.
Yeah, I'm paranoid. And I know how this works. So I will just quietly go about my business, and I will find a way to try and get the data off that M2.
One of the things, I'm going to say, one of the things you could try,
the other slot.
That might work, yeah. You could try GRC's SpinRite. That has been known to recover drives that aren't physically damaged. It's just an issue of reading a sector. It can rebuild those sectors. They don't have a free trial, but they do have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So that's a possibility. It's more of a tool that a technician would buy to run on all their computers.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a possibility. It's not that expensive. I think it's only like $80. I bought a copy myself that I use. The funny thing is, I've never had SpinRite say it fixed a problem. Part of what it does is it tells the drive controller to read the data. And if it can't, the controller kicks into error correcting, and there's a screen in SpinRite that shows it doing the error correcting, and it corrects the errors. And then, so you do a full pass, and then the drive just magically works again when it didn't actually generate any error messages for you. But then I've had other drives that say, oh, this drive is dead, you're out of luck, back it up as soon as you can, which is usually too late for that by then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the unfortunate part was I had this thing backed up to an external drive that's on my the Western Digital drive I had plugged into the USB port on my router, and that drive died. And I bought a new one, got it in, and I just didn't get to backing up my wife's data as soon as I needed it to, and then the bloody drive crashed before I could get it off. So, my bad, but she didn't seem to care, and so anyhow, that's kind of where I sit. So, okay, I gotta go, but thank you very much. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, have fun.
Yeah, I'm not in the right field. He said it too fast before I could get typed it, so I'm trying to type it here so I can post that link.
Yeah, Steve is looking at a link from Microsoft itself. It talks about various things you can use, the DISM and and SFC and all of that stuff. You can try. There's never a promise, but you can try. This is just another cautionary tale for the rest of you.
Is it an SSD, did he say?
No, it's an M.2. Yeah, it's an M.2. Yeah, and it's an SSD.
Oh.
So this is a cautionary tale for the rest of you. Back up today. Not tomorrow. Not, I'll do it after supper.
And not once.
But back it up right now. You never know when a drive is going to die, and I guarantee you it will die at the worst possible moment.
Well, my machine just died, 2 weeks ago. And I didn't worry about it one bit. It's like, all my, because the main thing for the downstairs computer is I use it for Money Dance. Money Dance is saved on Dropbox or my Google Drive.
Right.
Nothing is saved on my physical hard drive.
Right.
All the data and everything else is off on to the Google Drive, and then the same with my photos. It's all Google. So the only thing I have technically on this machine are programs that are linked to Google Drive or other, other drives that are out there. And I don't have it just in one. I've got it, especially the Money Dance, 2 other places.
And that's why I use pCloud, among many other things. pCloud backs up all my data, backs up all my wife's data, backs up all my daughter's data. So when something happens to one of those machines, there is at least one copy out on the web somewhere, out on the internet, out in the cloud, that's there. Plus, I can't promise that my wife is backing up anyplace else, but I'm backing up to at least 3 other places, because I believe in if you go to asknick.com/backups.php, you'll see a link to that right on our Soundbites main page, where it says backup, backup, backup under some important links. You will see the 3-2-1 backup place. 3 separate backups in 2 separate places, at least one of which is off-site. And I'm doing like 4 or 5 different backups in 3 or 4 different places.
And, that's the other cool thing about using Google. Setting it up. All I had to do was install Chrome. Boom. All my emails are there.
Yep.
Nothing I had to be back in the day, sit there and worry about all the previous emails and all that. I just sit there and logged into all my accounts so I could have all my tabs that Nick really appreciates.
Yeah.
And then I can sit there and same with my bookmarks. I started up Chrome. Oh, there's restore all your backup tabs. Yeah, put them all there. Boom. I didn't have to worry about, I forgot about this particular bookmark or this group or that. No, it's already saved there because it's saved off to the cloud.
Yep. And there's no reason not to have backups anymore. Media are cheap. Even now, you can still get, before the tariffs truly kick in, you can go online and order yourself a pack of 64 gig thumb drives and back up your data to multiple drives if necessary. You can order like I did. I had an SSD. I had a computer that died. The terabyte SSD, the M.2 drive, was still good. So I ordered an M.2 carrier. It's just a little lozenge-looking thing that plugs into USB. I slot the M.2 into there, plug it into my USB. Bingo, there's all the files. I got everything I needed, but I also had a backup online.
Well,
and I had another backup sitting on a shelf. And there's no reason you shouldn't have multiple backups. There's no reason.
Raspberry Pis are so cheap.
Right.
The threes and fours. And you can put, and there are great videos instructing you how to put a Windows program on a Raspberry Pi, create the image, put it on there, and then you can hook up an SD hard drive. And I've got three of them that run different software and, for backing up different software that I want to back up. That's just one of my backups.
Yep.
Because I've got one for the wife, one for my computer stuff, or ham stuff, and then the other one's for my personal stuff. And then they're off to other places that I back up, especially Google Drive. Google offers you 15 gig free. And you think, well, I could fill that up. Create another email address. Right. Boom, you get 15 more gig. So like in my case, I've got separate email addresses, one 15 gig for personal, one for ham, and I even created one for the wife.
And if you are an Amazon Prime user,
yep,
for the movies or the free shipping or for whatever reason, you also have unlimited photo storage. If you're not taking advantage of that, that's a sin.
My wife.
That's a sin.
My wife uses all her, the graves that she's done, and she has done, I'd speculate, over 40,000 grave sites that she has taken the pictures, and then she also has another copy that she's readjusted it and to put it up on Ancestry and all that other, and they all go up to Amazon Prime.
Yep.
I let her use that for her stuff, and like I say, easily over 40,000.
And talking about backups, I have unlimited photo storage because I have a Pixel phone, but I also use the unlimited photo storage for Amazon Prime. So I have 3 copies, because there's also in my phone. And I was showing somebody this, some pictures the other day, and they were scrolling through my thing and said, "You've got photos from the 70s on here." I said, "Yeah." I said, "How much storage do you have in this phone?" I said, "It's not on my phone. Mm-hmm. It's on, in this case, it was on Google, but it could have been on Amazon as well. I've got pictures, every picture I've ever taken from whether it was a still camera, regular film camera, mm-hmm. or I've got, I had the original Kodak digital cameras and that one that was on the little disc thing, the disc camera. I've got pictures from all of those. I've digitized all of them. They're all up there because now I have them somewhere. That's the kind of thing that you can't, you can always, if you absolutely have to work at it, recreate a document or a spreadsheet.
Pictures.
You cannot recreate a picture that was taken in 1972.
Or family gatherings and that type of stuff. That's one part of my business that I used to hate, was somebody that bring in the machine and they're crying. Literally, I had a couple come in crying because they were afraid the hard drive had died, and it had.
All their pictures.
And all their pictures that they had there done were gone.
Gone.
I'm like you say, documents you can recreate. It's the photos.
Yep.
Those moments of when your child turned, a certain age or a special event and all that. Once they're gone, they're gone. There's no magic of all of a sudden recreating that moment or pulling it out of somewheres. And
I was a hero. Okay, so my wife's family's home in Leroy, an old farmhouse kind of thing, and there was a stone fence out front. And the legend is that the man who owned the house at that time was building that fence when somebody came down the road on his horse and said, "Did you hear the news? Lincoln has been shot." Well, they had a photo from the 18-somethings or early 19-somethings of a family standing in front of the house. And we recreated that photo.
Ooh.
Exactly. Everybody's sitting in the same position, all of it, right. Wearing something similar.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had that picture, and my sister-in-law said, "Man, I wish I had the original photo alongside it." Excuse me? Superhero here. Pulled it up on my phone, sent it to her. I win. And that's the kind of thing that you, like I said, you cannot get that back. Once that picture is gone, it is gone forever unless you have a backup. So head on over to asknick.com/backup.php. You'll find the link on the Soundbites website under some important, what's it called? Some important links. It's the second one, backup. And get yourself backed up today. If you wait until tomorrow, you will lose something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what anybody tells you.
And we always hear from customers who say, "Well, nobody told me to back up," or
right.
The one I hit the most is Macs don't die.
Yeah.
Everything dies.
Everything dies.
You're here because your Mac died.
Students used to come to me. Yeah. Students with their thumb drives. My thesis is on here. I can't read it. And my first thought was, you could buy a thumb drive at the bookstore for $5. It wasn't worth $5 to you to back it up, but I can spend 3 days of my time recovering it.
That's your job, isn't it?
No, it isn't going to happen.
I'm giving you something to do. You should be happy.
Yes.
Speaking of being a hero, when I had the shop going, Bill Peterson's wife came to me, and she was working on her thesis. And again, had it on a thumb drive. And
thumb drives die.
She couldn't get it off.
Yep.
I said, well, let me see what I can do. I literally took the thing apart, and all a thumb drive is, folks, is a chip on this little board, and there's like 4 little connectors.
Yep.
I was lucky.
Torque the drive.
I was lucky enough that when I took it apart, I could see that 2 of the little fingers, because of the way she pulled it out, you don't realize if you don't put them in right and pull them straight out, you could snap them.
Yep.
And she had snapped 2 of the fingers. So I heated up my soldering iron and wound up touching them up. I was able to get it in there. Really, because, here it's out on the board.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to be real careful getting it in. I got it up.
Immediately copied everything.
I just had another drive, and I backed it up to that drive. I dragged everything off to that drive, and then once we got everything there, checked that her thesis was there, and did up a CD, put it off to the CD, just the thesis, and then her other stuff we backed up to another hard drive that they brought in, And she was so grateful. She wound up mentioning me in her thesis that I was, due to this, her thesis was able to be presented because of Enright PC management.
Nice.
And I wound up getting this huge basket of fruit and all that.
Nice.
We've saving her thesis.
We've talked about the problem of fake flash drives online.
Right.
That sound to, a terabyte flash drive for $10.
Yeah, it's not happening.
But there are legitimate drives that are just cheap crap.
Yeah.
Right.
And you want to send a file to someone that you don't need back again, or you're not going to keep using it. Sure, buy the cheap crap.
My wife is keeping the local, it's not Kinko's anymore, FedEx. It's keeping the local FedEx and thumb drives. Every time she goes there to print a color thing, she leaves the drive every time. So I've given her a bunch of 64 megabyte drives that I had laying around. I said, use these to transport that 132 meg image.
Or upload it to their website. They have an FTP server.
I know that. But yeah, we've all seen that.
Put an address label on them, and so they know who to give it back to.
Yeah, I don't have it either. All right.
Good luck with that.
So let's do the news thing. Speaking of passwords, which we did earlier, if someone hacks your Gmail account, Google says you have 7 days in which to get access back, even if the attacker has changed your recovery telephone number, as long as you've had the foresight to provide a recovery telephone number or email address before the attack took place. Google even has a guidebook on how to do it. In unrelated news, there's a bunch of Google guidebooks online. But remember, you only have 7 days in which to act. And that's good because cyber criminals are abusing Google's infrastructure, creating emails that appear to come from Google in order to persuade people into handing over their Google account credentials. People receive a very official-looking security alert about a subpoena allegedly issued to Google by law enforcement for information contained in their Google account. A URL in the email points them to a sites.google.com page that looks like an exact copy of the official Google support portal. Of course, it's a complete scam. Any sort of notice like that should come from accounts.google.com, not sites.google.com, which is where anybody can host a website.
Yeah, the fact that it's hosted by Google adds
legitimacy.
Credibility, yeah.
The Google Play Store shed 1.8 million apps since the beginning of last year. That makes up about 47% of the 3.4 million apps it started 2024 with, a decline that an Apple spokesrobot says reflects the company's focus on delivering high-quality apps and commitment to continuous improvements for our users' safety. Google has built an enormously successful business around the idea of putting ads in search results, but what happens if AI becomes the dominant form of finding information? Google is preparing for that possibility by testing chatbot ads. Great. In a totally unrelated news item, Google plans to roll out its Gemini artificial intelligence chatbot next week for children under 13 who have parent-managed Google accounts as tech companies vie to attract young users with AI products. To sign up for a child account, parents provide Google with personal data like their child's name and birth date. That sounds safe. Whatever your age, give us an ad-free call, 585-966-JAZZ. It's 966-5299. Toll-free 800-790-0415. And I'm giving Steve the link to the Google Guidebook to be able to recover your Google account.
Is that in the doc?
Yeah. You got it already then? Well, he's got it already. Doesn't need me.
There it is. I was on to the next news.
Oh, yeah. No, be on this news. Google does have a bunch of guidebooks that are available for you to use, and they highlight some of them, but there's a whole bunch more.
It's hiding in the Android support.
Yeah. They show you how to do it on an Android phone, but you can do it wherever. Pretty much following the same thing. For so many people, it's all phone first these days.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the support documents reference your phone rather than doing it on a computer. And I know that's all my websites should be phone first. I understand that they're not. and you just have to understand that.
And the corollary to this news story is everyone should go to all of your accounts, Apple, Google, Microsoft, whatever, put in a recovery email.
Yep.
Put in a recovery cell phone so they can text you. If you have a recovery home phone, they can't text you.
Exactly right.
If you changed phone numbers, they don't know that until you tell them.
Right. So do all that, because you have a couple of minutes to do all that, because we're going to take a quick break. We will be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, with Steve Ray, with me, Nick Francesco, and with you. Don't actually go away. Listen to the lovely underwriters, and we'll be back with a whole lot more sound bites. Give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ, 966-5299, toll-free 800-790-0415. See you on the other side.
It's America's longest-running computer show. Back to more sound bites with Nick, Dave, and Steve. Next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is indicating a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine is still on the horizon. Lisa Taylor has more.
Secretary of State said the two nations are closer, but they're still far apart. Rubio, who's now also serving as National Security Advisor after Mike Waltz's departure, has participated in direct talks with Kremlin officials. The comments come after the U.S. signed a minerals deal with Ukraine Wednesday to secure safety guarantees as the conflict continues.
President Trump is calling for over $160 billion in federal spending cuts. The White House budget blueprint released Friday calls for a 13% increase in defense spending for the next fiscal year. It would slash funding for the State Department, the EPA, Housing and Urban Development, and most other federal departments. Crowds are building at Churchill Downs for the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby. Lisa Carton, NBC News Radio.
Wow your friends, excite the kids in your life, and have fun growing a giant pumpkin in this year's garden. Hi, I'm Melinda Myers, horticulturist and gardening expert. Grow Atlantic giant pumpkins, the most common variety of today's giant pumpkins. Jumpstart the growing season by starting seeds indoors several weeks before the danger of frost has passed. Plant your pumpkins in a sunny spot with well-drained soil and protected from wind and frost. Water thoroughly whenever the top few inches of soil are crumbly but slightly moist. Pumpkins need lots of water but don't tolerate soggy soil. Once the fruit reaches softball size, remove all but the most promising one on each vine. Maintaining one fruit per vine allows the plant to put all its energy into growing it into a giant. Fertilize regularly, then shade the giant pumpkin from sun to prevent it from overheating and bursting. Check out our website for this and other gardening tips. Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by Summit Responsible Solutions, a manufacturer of organic, all-natural mosquito control products under the Mosquito Dunks brand name. Mosquito dunks can be used in ponds, bird baths, rain barrels, or wherever water collects. Non-toxic to people, pets, fish, birds, and other wildlife, mosquito dunks are available at local and national garden centers everywhere. Information on how to control mosquitoes can be found at summitresponsiblesolutions.com. Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by animal repellent Plant Skid. It's organic and safe for use on fruits and vegetable gardens, as well as trees, shrubs, and flowers. Plant Skid uses odors associated with predators, encouraging animals like deer, rabbits, bulls, elk, moose, chipmunks, and squirrels to dine elsewhere. Information on how to protect plants from animal damage can be found at plantskydd.com. That's plantskid.com.
Hi, I'm Marcel Spears. Keeping our global neighborhood safe is a tough job, made easier by America's brave military dogs. These dogs keep our troops safe by sniffing out bombs and IEDs and locating enemy positions. Yet when these canine heroes retire, they're too often left overseas. American Humane works to bring these valiant dogs home and reunites them with their handlers for happy, healthy retirements. To learn how you can help, visit AmericanHumane.org.
Here's the latest Jazz 90.1 weather forecast.
The rain gear is a must from hilltop to lakeshore on your Saturday. We'll look for showers and temperatures to be close to 50 degrees for a high. Coming up for your Saturday night, still on the cloudy side with some more scattered showers. Overnight low temperatures will be into the mid-40s with the breeze out of the northeast. For your Sunday, more showers, especially into the afternoon. There will be some dry time, especially into the morning, the high in the mid-50s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we still got cloudy skies, 46 degrees out at the airport, and 46 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 34 minutes after the hour, we are Soundbites, and you can give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free, 800-790-0415. While you do that, I will read the Microsoft news. Decision time. Microsoft is decision time in America. Decision time. Microsoft has just issued a detailed upgrade choice for the 240 million Windows users facing down the cyber nightmare of their PC losing all security support with no free upgrade options remaining. Microsoft is, of course, this is about in October. Microsoft Windows 10 goes out of support, and you're hosed essentially. Microsoft is, of course, pushing you to buy a Copilot Plus PC, but there are other options. You might be able to upgrade your current computer or buy a Windows 11 capable PC that's not a Copilot Plus, or you could buy a Mac or trash Windows and put Linux or Chrome OS Flex on your current computer, or I suppose move to a cave somewhere in the hills of Albania and become a hermit. But if you keep Windows 10, you're going to get hacked. Guaranteed. That's not even a question anymore. If you call us up after October 14th and say, I'm running Windows 10, we probably will not be able to help you. That's a simple reality.
The November Microsoft patch update will not affect Windows 10.
Right.
But all the exploits will.
All the exploits of Exploit Wednesday.
Yeah.
Microsoft has confirmed several issues affecting Microsoft 365 customers using the Paste Special option and the calendar feature in the classic Outlook email client. A fix is already developed, and it will start rolling out to users in the beta channel in early May and to current channel preview users in early June, while current channel users, that's probably you, will only get it around late June after updating to version 2506, build 18925.20,000. Microsoft is working on fixing issues causing Outlook on the web and SharePoint Online users to experience delays or failures when searching, so things are looking really good for running Windows in the cloud. Microsoft says it has no plans to change a remote login protocol in Windows, listen to this, that allows people to log into machines using passwords that have been revoked. Microsoft said the behavior is a design decision to ensure that at least one user account always has the ability to log in no matter how long a system has been offline. As such, Microsoft said the behavior doesn't meet the definition of a security vulnerability. See, when you have a security vulnerability, move the goalposts. Mm-hmm. And company engineers have no plan to change it. Microsoft, in this case, is wrong. Speaking of which, after supporting passwordless Windows logons for years, and even allowing users to delete passwords from their accounts, Microsoft is making its biggest move yet toward a future with no passwords. Now it will ask people signing in for new accounts to use only more secure methods like passkeys, push notification, and security keys instead by default. So fire up that Microsoft Authenticator, which we talked about in the poll. Hot patching, which means that you can patch a system without rebooting, which has been available on Linux for decades, and I think on the Mac.
Some patches.
Some patches.
Some need to be rebooted.
But yeah, hot patching, which has been available on Linux for decades, is finally coming to Windows. Well, to Windows Server 2025. It means you can finally update a system without rebooting, but it's not going to be free. You knew that.
Yeah, really.
Companies will pay $1.50 per core per month for the convenience. Since servers often have 32 cores or more, well, I'll let you do the math.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty dang close to $50. I wonder if this is a preview of things to come for the desktop. We won't charge you to call us, although we'd love for you to become a member. Because give us a call at 585-966-JAZZ. It's 966-5299, toll free 800-790-0415.
We had a customer bring a PC in this week that he's buying a new Mac with. So as usual, I check the specs of the machine. We got to see what disk space he's using and whatnot. He hasn't updated his Windows 10 since 2000.
Wowie.
He's still running version 2009.
Wowie.
So he bought the computer earlier than that, so he at least ran a few updates. It's not the OS it came with.
Right.
But we run into that all the time.
Yeah.
They ignore every message about it updating the OS. Well, I'll get to it later, and later never comes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just got a notice this morning about updating this one. I said, no, thank you. I want to do that when I have a week to redo it if I have to. But yeah, the reality here is that Windows 10 is going away, and you can rail against that all you like, and you can deny that all you like, and you can hate it till the day you die. But it's a reality, and that means you are either going to A, run Windows 10 unsupported, including by us, B, move to Windows 11 in some form, whether it runs on your current machine or you got to buy a new one, or C, change your operating system, whether you put Linux on your current machine or buy a Mac. And that's it. Those are your choices. Because if you continue to run Windows 10, like I said, you're gonna. What did I do? Oh, I see what I did.
And
go ahead.
And if you say, I've never had any problems, with Windows getting hacked or anything like that, because you've been loading the patches. There are going to be no more security patches for Windows 10 as of October.
Right.
And now you're even more vulnerable. And bad guys don't care about you. You don't have anything to steal. Well, you have a computer they can use to break into other computers with, as for anonymity. They can take $5 out of your account. It's $5 more than they had before.
They can serve porn from your computer.
Yeah.
Child porn, by the way.
So you have a lot of things the bad guys want.
Right. All right, to the phones. Our next caller is Dave from Spencerport, New York. What's up, Dave?
Yes, hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I had a non-related computer question for you. I was wondering if you have heard anything about the reception for people that use antenna with WXXI channels. I seem to lost all of mine, and when I do a search, they don't come in. I don't know if this has happened to anybody else, and just wanted to run it by you.
What type of digital receiver do you have? Because didn't they go from ATSC 2 to 3 recently?
Yeah, they did.
So it could be that your receiver is too old to get the new frequencies.
I see. Okay. I wasn't quite sure what receiver I have. I have an antenna receiver. It is...
How old?
Well, the antenna plugs into a box, and that box is the receiver.
Yeah, and how old is that receiver, though, that you're using?
That receiver is purchased about 2016.
10 years.
Oh, yeah. They redid their stuff fairly... Well, I thought they did it back in 2020.
Well, they've gone from 1 to 2 to 3.
Right.
So it's possible your receiver is 1 and 2, but not 3.
Right.
So you may need a new digital receiver.
I see. Okay. Because it's just it's a digital one, and with an antenna, and I guess I didn't realize that they have changed or upgraded the signal and that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So okay, very good, guys. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, I haven't used my antenna in a while. I should see if I'm getting them. I have YouTube TV, so I get everything I need for that anyway. So
the other thing you can do with a lot of stations have a live stream on the internet, so you may not need to get a receiver. If you plug a TV into your plug a computer into your TV.
Right. I don't know that XXI does that, but yeah. My goodness, we will talk to anybody about anything, won't we?
Mm-hmm.
It's great. No, it's great. Dave, thank you for calling in with that.
So
it broadens what we do here, and it's good.
So a lot of people have cut the cord by stop subscribing to cable TV. And for local channels, you can use a digital antenna to get digital TV. So that was the first big change. How long ago was that? Analog to digital.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
And then they've gone through, different digital formats.
Yeah, I know.
Standards.
Standards.
Yeah. But also now there are new TV providers. What typically used to be called television, you can now get from YouTube TV and Hulu TV and Sling TV over the internet, and so you can watch traditional NBC, CBS, ABC broadcast channels over the internet through an internet television service.
Right, and there are lots and lots of those. YouTube TV gives me local channels.
Yep.
And so do several others. So you can, I get all of that through my Greenlight cable rather than over the air or anywhere else. And I have all of my TVs set up to use that. So it's pretty good for me. And I appreciate the ability to be able to do that. It's actually pretty nice. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Fred from Henrietta, New York. What's up, Fred?
Hi, guys. First off, I am a member.
Thank you.
Second thing, the guy that, the guy that just called in about Channel 21, I just checked that with my over-the-air box, and they're still broadcasting on 21.1, 2.3.4, and ATSC 1. What they did recently is all the major, I think most of the major channels are broadcasting in ATSC 3, but they're still broadcasting in ATS 1.
They're still doing 1, 2?
Completely.
Okay.
2's gone. 2 never happened. We went from 1 to 3, but they're still broadcasting on the original one, and they're going to be for a few more years. So, but anyway, I'm picking it up fine on my box, and the signal looks great, and it's still an ATSC 1.
So Dave, if you're still listening, and I'm sure you are, try just rescanning, see what happens.
And try scanning at a different time of day. Sometimes that helps.
Yeah. All right, perfect, Fred. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
Once again, my favorite part of the show is when other people call in and help us out.
Somebody your name?
Did Oh, there it is. I had to refresh.
What the heck are you doing?
I didn't see anything, so I refreshed, and now it looks like I added an extra 5. Sorry.
Dang it! He's screwing with my with my sheet here.
I'll teach you to give me editing capability.
Yeah, that's right.
I've already fixed 2 spelling errors.
Did you?
Yeah.
What did I misspell?
You had partition wrong.
Oh, well, when I'm typing in the middle of somebody talking, I don't pay a lot of attention. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Richard from Irondequoit, New York. What's up, Richard?
The gentleman about the antenna not picking up UHF.
Yep.
Well, as an old analog television salesman, he may, I could be wrong, but he may need to set his television to non-cable reception to pick up 21.
Oh,
UHF, from my experience, UHF won't come in unless you go into the menu and set the television for non-cable. When it's set to cable, I don't believe it will pick up UHF. That was my experience long ago with analog stuff.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Bye.
There we go, and it's another person helping us out there.
A lot of people have cut the cord and gone to antennas.
Yeah.
It really helps if you live line of sight to the Pinnacle Hill, where all the antennas are. So if you have a window facing that direction,
put the antenna in that window.
Mm-hmm.
I could from my house I could spit and hit Pinnacle Hill.
You got to just play around moving it.
And that can be a problem because you're oversaturated.
Well, that's why we originally got cable.
Yeah.
Because we were getting every channel perfectly simultaneously.
On every channel.
On every channel. So we really needed cable because we were just getting overdubbed on everything. In fact, before I bought the house, I knew the lady who had owned it. I was friends with her son. And I came over one day and she was white as a sheet. I said, what happened? She said, you've got to hear this. I said, what? She said, she had a little mini electric organ in her dining room. She said, my husband's voice is coming out of the organ. I said, what?
Somebody, your name?
My husband's voice is coming out of the organ.
Kevin, where you calling
She turned the organ on. She was getting WXXI
Mm-hmm.
on the organ.
Yep.
And it wasn't her husband's voice, but it was close.
Close, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes hear about people getting radio on their braces.
Yeah.
Any long wire is a radio antenna.
Is an antenna. Exactly right. Exactly right. All right. Back to the phones. Our next caller is Kevin from Rochester, New York. What's up, Kevin?
How about giving me a second?
No, I don't want to give you a second. Hold on, Kevin. Dave is slow. He's old. He's slow. Can we talk?
Wait 1 minute.
Can we talk to
No,
Kevin now?
No. I have to get off this chair, come over and hand it to you so you can do it, and I got to have time to get back. You're just sitting there reading a note saying, oh, let's go to this one.
You used to be faster.
And I used to be a lot younger 35 years ago.
All right. If Dave deigns to let us talk to Kevin in Rochester, New York. What's up, Kevin?
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. You're doing a great job, Dave, by the way. Don't listen to those guys.
Suck up.
Oh, wait. No. Hold on 1 second, Kev. I got the shirt next week for you.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead,
That's
Kevin.
all I'll say.
Yeah, I'm just calling regarding WXXI broadcast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're simulcasting ATSC, the new ATSC 3.0 and the ATSC 1.0. So sometimes there's an issue. The other caveat is that on the ATSC 3.0 broadcasts, sometimes they go up and down. Sometimes they do work on them. They're still tweaking them. And so if you have a TV, a newer one that can get both, the ATSC 3 and the ATSC 1, when you auto-program it initially, it's going to see both WXXIs. It's going to see the 3.0 and it's going to see the 1.0. And so a lot of times the TV will lock out the 1.0 broadcast. So it's only going to show up once when you're scrolling through your channel. Okay. So if WXXI, let's say they're down right now working on their 3.0, well, when you scroll through your channels, you're not going to see the 1.0 channels.
Right.
They've been locked out, and so I have a TV that's done that exact same thing. I don't have access to it right now, so I can't check it. But I have to manually go into the add and remove channels part of the programming for the channels, and I have to turn the 1.0 channels back on and re-add them to see them. So it could be that they're working on their 3.0 transmitter right now and it's down. And so if you don't have your 1.0 available in your set of channels you scroll through, you're not going to see it.
Makes sense.
And so you may have to go in to your add and remove channels on your TV or on your receiver and turn back on those other WXXI broadcasts. See them.
Yep.
So
excellent.
Yeah, I had a Sony TV. I had to do that exact same thing because I wanted to see both. I wanted to see the 3.0 and the 1.0, just so I would have two options just in case I needed them.
Yeah, of course.
But the 3.0 broadcast, they do go down occasionally. Like I said, they're still kind of tweaking them. So, and if they do go down, they usually go down without any warning to the viewer.
Of course.
So I don't know if that caller has a newer TV or receiver. So I would say to anyone, if you can go back into your add and remove channels, turn those 1.0 channels back on, and you'll have two versions of those channels. Channel 10 is the only local station that does not have an ATSC 3.0 broadcast. So.
Okay, good to know. Thank you, Kevin. We appreciate it very much. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, guys. See you. Bye.
Yep. Okay.
Good information.
Thanks to Dave, we're taking a deep dive into ATSC television signals. Something I didn't much know about, and like I said, I'll be honest. I've got a digital antenna on one of the TVs, but now, because that's a smart TV and we don't have cable anymore and we have YouTube TV instead, I have it on that television, so I don't even use that HD antenna anymore.
Yeah, see, I've got one also in one of my windows, and then I hooked up what they call a telco box, which has a terabyte hard drive that I hooked up to it. So this way I can record all the local stations, evening programs that I want, and it saves it to that terabyte hard drive that later on, if I want to watch any of the local ones, say like, what is it, on Wednesday nights, Chicago night, and there's Chicago Med and Chicago Fire and that, or the FBI series, I set it up, and then that way I don't have to worry about it during the summer months when we go into reruns. Now I can go in and watch these because I've been watching other stuff on my cable.
One of the things I really like about YouTube TV is if you go in, let's say it's the third week of a series and you missed the first two. You go in and you say, I want to record this series. It gives you the first two.
Yeah, either on video on demand or it'll catch it in rerun.
No, it's just available in the series list.
Oh, really?
On YouTube TV. So I did that for my wife. She said, oh, I meant to ask you to record Will Trent for me. And it was the third episode. He said, all right, I'll record it anyway, right? So I set it to record, and we went and looked, and the first two episodes were there as well. So I was a hero. It was very exciting. Love to be the hero when I don't actually do anything. That's I spent a lot of time agonizing over cutting the cord. Not for me, but for my wife.
I was the first one.
You were, and I spent a lot of time looking at all of the various options before I settled on YouTube TV. In fact, YouTube TV the only channel it doesn't have is it Discovery, whichever one has Forged in Fire, which I like to watch. So
yeah, one of the hits. The problem is Discovery's got a bunch of different channels under the same name, under different names. One of the history channels isn't on something my wife watches, so that we have to subscribe separately.
Right. So, but I did YouTube TV, and I'm loving it. I'm delighted I cut the cord. It does mean that we are a single point of failure, right? So if the internet goes out, I got nothing, because all our radio, all our television, all our music, everything comes through the internet now.
Then you put your antenna back up.
Yeah, I still have that antenna, and also I can, depending on the reason for the outage, I can still use my phone as a hotspot.
Yep.
So it's not the end of the universe as we know it, but it does limit my options.
End of the world, and we know it, and I feel fine.
Exactly. All right, that music tells us that we are done for another week. I want to thank everybody who called in. I particularly want to thank the people who called in about TV reception. It isn't something we normally talk about, but clearly we struck a chord. Dave struck a chord among our members, our listeners, and so many of whom are members, so thank you. I want to thank each and every one of you who called in. I want to thank all of you who are listening. I want to thank Dave Enright and Steve Ray. I'm Nick Francesco. Remember, you can check out the archives at soundbites.org/archives. You can listen to us any one of 1,000 ways, thanks to Steve, and thanks to Rob Linton, who put us on the app. And we will see you in just 166 hours.